Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Vidya Firjatullah and I'm from class 1A. Today, I'm gonna tell you a story about Rapunzel. Hope you guys enjoy it. Once upon a time, there was a woman who wished to have a child. Her husband shared this wish. However, for a long time, the woman could not have children. She and her husband wished and hoped and prayed for a child, but for some reason, the child never came. Now, in the back of their house, there was a window. From the window, the man and his wife could see a lovely garden. It was filled with the beautiful flowers and lush green plants. There were tomatoes and peppers in the garden. There were clumps of lettuce and another leafy plant called Rapunzel. Around the garden was a tall stone wall, and no one dared to enter the garden, for it belonged to a wicked witch with evil powers. One day, the wife stood at the window and looked down into the garden. She saw the Rapunzel. It looked so fresh and green. She felt that she simply must have some. Day after day, she looked out the window. She longed for the Rapunzel. She became sadder and sadder. The woman's husband saw her sadness. "Dear wife," he asked, "what is the matter?" "Oh, husband," said the woman, "I simply must have some Rapunzel to eat. It grows in the garden behind our house. If I can get some, I fear I will die." The man frowned. He was not a thief, but he loved his wife. He thought, "I can let her die. I will get her some Rapunzel. The old witch has so much of it, she will not know if I take just a little." That night, the man crept over the stone wall. He slid down into the garden. Then he picked a bunch of Rapunzel and took it back to his wife. The wife was delighted when she saw the Rapunzel. She ate a big bowl of it. She said it was the best food she had ever eaten. The husband was happy. "Well," he said, "that's the end of that." The next day, the wife found that she was still craving Rapunzel. In fact, she was craving it 3 times as much. "Husband," she said, "I enjoyed that Rapunzel so much. It was so good. Will you get some for me again?" The husband was annoyed. He did not like stealing, but it gave him joy to make his wife happy. He stood and thought. At last, the man said, "I'm glad that the Rapunzel brings you joy. I will go to the garden again, but this is the last time." So the man sneaked into the garden again. He picked some Rapunzel and started to leave. Just then he saw the blazing eyes of the witch. "How dare you steal my Rapunzel?" The witch growled. "You will pay dearly for this, you thief." The man dropped the Rapunzel. He fell to his knees. "I beg you," he called out, "have mercy on me." The witch just frowned. "I beg you," the man said. "I had to do it. You see, my wife was looking out for our window and saw your Rapunzel. She told me that she would die unless I got her some, so I had to get her some." "Well then," the witch said, "I will make a deal with you. I will allow you to pick as much Rapunzel as you want, on one condition. When your wife has a child, you must give the child to me. I will take care of the child like it's a very own mother." The man was scared. Also, he was starting to think his wife might never have a child. So he said yes. After that, he tried not to think about it. However, some months later, his wife had a lovely baby. Not long after, the witch appeared and took the child away. The witch named the child Rapunzel. When Rapunzel was 12 years old, she was very beautiful. The witch took her deep into a forest and locked her in a tall tower. The tower had no steps and no gate. The only way to get in was a small window near the top of the tower. When the witch wanted to be let in, she would call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Rapunzel had long, beautiful hair that shone like gold. When the witch called up to her, she would open the window. She would let her hair fall down to the ground far below. Then the witch would take hold of the hair and lift herself up to the window. Rapunzel spent years locked away in the tower. In all that time, no one came to see her, no one expected the witch. Then one day, a prince was riding through the forest. As he rode, he could hear a voice singing. It sang so sweetly that he stopped his horse so he could hear it better. It was Rapunzel up in her tower. She was trying to drive away her loneliness with sweet songs. The prince wanted to see who sang so well. He rode to the tower. He looked for a way to get in, but he could find none. The prince rode home, but he was never quite the same after that day. Rapunzel's song had entered his heart. He was haunted by it. He could not stop thinking about it. Day after day, week after week, he went back to the tower to hear Rapunzel singing. Once the princess was standing behind some trees. When the witch appeared, the prince watched as the witch called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." He saw how the maiden in the tower let down her long golden hair and how the witch lifted herself up and went into the tower. "So that is the ladder," the prince said to himself. "Well, then I will go up the ladder too." The next day, the prince came back. He called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The maiden let down her hair. The prince took hold of it with both hands and made it his way up the tower. Rapunzel was frightened when she saw the prince. She had never seen a man or even a boy, but the prince was kind to her. He told her how her singing had entered his heart and brought him such joy. He told her that he felt he could have no peace until he had seen her. Then Rapunzel was not afraid. The prince asked if he could visit Rapunzel again. Rapunzel agreed. The prince came again and again. He and Rapunzel fell in love. One day, the prince got down on one knee. He asked Rapunzel to run away with him and be his wife. Rapunzel took his hand in hers and spoke to me. "I will gladly go with you," she said, "but I must get out of this tower. Do this for me. Each time you come, bring a bundle of silk. I will make a ladder of the silk. When the ladder is finished, I will use it to get down from this tower. Then you can carry me away from here on your horse." The prince came to visit Rapunzel again and again. Each time he came, he brought a bundle of silk. Rapunzel began to weave a ladder. Things went on this way for 2 weeks. Then Rapunzel made a mistake. One day, the witch was tugging on Rapunzel's hair and making her way up the side of the tower. Without thinking about what she was saying, Rapunzel called out, "Why do you come up so slowly? The prince takes only a moment." "The prince?" howled the witch. "Oh, you weak, disloyal child! I thought I had hidden you away this tower. Now I see that you have betrayed me for a man." The witch grabbed Rapunzel and cut off her hair. Then she drove Rapunzel out of the tower. She left her to wander in the forest, sad and alone. Later that day, the prince came. He called out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." The witch let down the hair she had cut off. The prince went up, but at the top he did not see his dear Rapunzel. Instead, he saw the frowning witch. "Aha," the witch cackled. "You came to see your darling, but the sweet maiden is no longer in her tower. You will never see her again." Then the witch let go of the hair. The prince fell and crashed into a patch of thorn below. The fall did not kill him, but it left him wounded. The sharp thorns cut his eyes and left him blind. The prince wandered for years, blind and alone. He ate only roots and berries, and he wept over the loss for his dear Rapunzel. At last, after years of wandering, the prince came to a meadow where Rapunzel herself was wandering. He could not see her, but he could hear her singing. He let his ears lead him to her. He followed her voice. At last, Rapunzel saw the prince. She ran to him. She fell on his neck and wept. When her tears touched his eyes, his wounds were healed. He found that he could see as well as ever. The prince took Rapunzel to his kingdom. There she was welcomed with great joy, and there the two of them lived happily ever after.